What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Alright guys, so we are going to jump back into more Ultimate Marvel comics, continue our coverage. Now guys, we so far covered Ultimate X-Men, the Ultimates, and now we're going to cover Ultimate Spider-Man. Now guys, the first storyline was 7 books long, and so I broke this storyline into 2 videos because there was so much content to cover that I said, listen, the first video will cover issue number 1, 2, and 3, but the second video will cover issue number 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now guys, I do hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do, please leave me a like down below and also subscribe for more comic book videos in the near future. But anyways guys, let's go ahead and dive into Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 1, 2, and 3. Hope you enjoy. Now guys, when it comes to Ultimate Spider-Man number 1, with this book right here guys, this book right here was massive. And what I mean is that this book was basically over 30 pages, more like 40 pages long of a book. Because this book was the first book for Ultimate Marvel. There was a lot of pressure on this book because it was Marvel saying it's time to make a separate universe, a more modern universe, and that was Ultimate Marvel. And so Marvel said, we need a new universe to be more modernized for our new fans out there, and let's start off with Spider-Man. And so Spider-Man number 1 being 40 pages long, it had a ton of pressure on it because it had to pull old fans and new fans in to sit down and say, let's discover this new universe, the Ultimate Marvel universe. Now, the way this book starts off though, we pick up with Norman Osborn. Now guys, Norman Osborn is working right now in his lab. And the thing is guys, he is working on his Oz formula because right now that is his big time project. He wants to get it done because if he does, he will make some major money with this project. Now, with the Oz formula, what is he doing? He's basically putting the Oz formula into different kinds of animals. But the one he's playing with right now is the spider. Now guys, this spider, of course, will give Peter Parker his powers, but later on. But the thing is, this spider is holding the Oz formula inside of it. Now, we do jump over to our lovely character, Peter Parker. And the thing is guys, we are getting the full life of Peter Parker in Ultimate Marvel in this book, what his life is like. And the thing is, we pick up Peter Parker being the nerd he is, sitting at a table, reading some textbook and trying to study some science because of course that is Peter Parker. He is a huge nerd. He loves science. As a matter of fact, I don't blame him because science is kind of cool. But anyways, you do have Peter Parker just trying to study. And of course, you do have Flash Thompson and his friends picking on Peter Parker, just like the main timeline Spider-Man. Now, we also get introduced to Mary Jane because guys, in this timeline right here, Peter Parker does not fall in love with Gwen Stacy first. Matter of fact, he falls in love with Mary Jane. And so right now in this book, they are best friends. They are close friends, but they do have feelings towards each other. Now, we do get introduced to Uncle Ben also because Uncle Ben is just there to pick up Peter Parker and see how he's doing. But guys, we are getting introduced to all the characters in Peter Parker's life in this book right off the bat. Mary Jane, Uncle Ben, and Flash Thompson. We are getting introduced to everything about Peter Parker in this timeline. Now, we do jump forward in time to high school time, like high school, whatever. But we pick up with Peter Parker in high school right now, and he's just walking around, and of course he does get picked on again by Flash Thompson to the point where Harry Osborn has to step in to protect Peter Parker. Now, guys, we are being introduced to Harry Osborn in Ultimate Marvel. But the thing is, Harry Osborn is different in this universe. Now guys, when Peter Parker first met Harry Osborn back in the main Marvel timeline, it was not really like they were best friends. They were kind of like, I like you, you like me, I guess we can be friends. But in this timeline right here, even though Harry Osborn says Peter Parker is his friend, in reality, he is using Peter Parker to do his homework. It's different because Peter Parker is so smart and a nerd, but will not stand up for himself, that Harry Osborn will protect him from Flash Thompson and other bullies just to say, hey, I helped you, now you gotta help me. So hey, let you do my homework for me as a way to repay me for protecting you from these bullies. It's really different in the main Marvel timeline with Harry and Peter Parker. Now, we do jump forward in time once again, and at this point right here, we do get to see the incident that gives Peter Parker his powers. Now, of course, you do have Peter and his high school mates on a field trip walking through, of course, Oscorp, and that same spider that Norman Osborn was playing around with that is holding the Oz formula was not locked up correctly. It got out. And so, of course, with Peter Parker and his classmates walking around the Oscorp building, that spider does get on Peter Parker's hand, bites Peter Parker, and of course guys, just like almost every single origin story for Spider-Man, that is how he got his powers. He was bitten by the Oz formula spider. Now, of course, Peter Parker does pass out because the effects of the spider venom with the Oz formula combined, it knocked out Peter Parker. And Peter Parker does wake up, of course, in a hospital. Now, the doctors do say he's okay, he's fine, but it's kind of like, what will happen to him? We know, because of course, it's Peter Parker, it's Spider-Man. He'll become a spider and start kicking butt. But for right now, it's kind of like, what in the world will happen to him? Now, while he's in the hospital, you do have one of the doctors try to get a blood sample of Peter Parker to make sure he's okay. And when the nurse takes the blood sample back to the office to get looked at, Norman Osborn sent one of his men into the hospital to steal that blood sample to see what kind of reaction does Peter Parker's blood have towards the Oz formula. He wants to make sure that Peter Parker is not going to mutate into some kind of monster, or this kid will die thanks to Norman Osborn Oz formula. Now, to go ahead and wrap up issue number 1, a few more things happen. Like I said, guys, this was a 40-page comic, but I'm trying to give you the quick rundown on this book because this book, all it did is really start up the Ultimate Marvel Universe with Ultimate Spider-Man. It tried to slam in so much content in this one book. But anyways, the last two things that happened is that Norman Osborn was looking back over the blood sample of Peter Parker that he had one of his men steal from the hospital. And so while he was looking over the blood sample, he realized that Peter Parker is dying, that the Oz formula is slowly killing off Peter Parker. Now guys, when this came out back in like 2000, it was kind of like, wait, are we not going to have Peter Parker as our Ultimate Marvel Spider-Man? Are we going to have somebody else as Peter Parker? That's kind of weird to have a 40-page book, read like 30 pages only to find out that Peter Parker might not live. And so you have Norman Osborn say, we need to go ahead and kill off Peter Parker before we get sued big time by the Parkers, because our spider who had the Oz formula bit Peter Parker. And so you had Norman Osborn sent out one of his men to go out there and kill Peter Parker. Of course, while this man did try to go kill Peter Parker, he was unlucky because Peter Parker's spider sense kicked in. And so we are seeing Peter Parker's powers basically coming active thanks to him almost being killed. Now, Peter Parker does run home and he's kind of like, what in the world's going on with me? What was that spider sense? How was I able to dodge that car that almost hit me? What in the world is going on with me? And the thing is, you have Peter Parker start climbing the wall and he realized that that spider gave him powers. And guys, that was the first issue of Ultimate Spider-Man. I had to give you a quick rundown on that book because again, it was 40 pages long. If we sat here and went over 40 pages of that book, that'll be a video of its own. But now guys, we jump over to Ultimate Spider-Man number 2. Now guys, when it comes to Ultimate Spider-Man number 2, with this book right here, this book does pick up a couple days after Ultimate Spider-Man number 1. Now guys, with this book right here, this book was more of, let's watch Peter Parker learn more about his powers, but at a slow pace. Because guys, if you look back at Amazing Fantasy number 15, with that book right there, that book was more of, hey, Peter got bit by a spider, became Spider-Man, became a superhero, all in one book. But with this book right here, it's more of, let's explore Peter Parker powers at a slow pace. Let's watch Peter Parker realize that he has all these different kinds of powers. Now, we do pick up with Peter Parker right now in school. The thing is though, he fell asleep in class. And so when the teacher goes to wake him up, Peter Parker freaks out. He freaks out and he breaks the desk in half. Now guys, this is right here tells us that Peter Parker has super strength. It's Peter Parker realizing that he has super strength. Now, you do have us jump forward in time to PE class. Now, while in PE class, Peter Parker realized that Flash Thompson is trying to hit on Mary Jane to the point where he's trying to force himself onto Mary Jane. And the thing is, you have Peter Parker realize that that is not cool. And so you have Peter Parker get a basketball and throw the ball right at Flash Thompson's head. Now, with that happening right there, that does tick off Flash Thompson. And you have Flash tell Peter that they're going to fight after school. And of course, guys, we do jump over to that fight. Now, you do have Flash Thompson trying to throw punches at Peter Parker. The thing is though, Peter Parker is, again, he is learning that he also has the ability to dodge blows real easily. He has a high reflexing skill. He is dodging Flash Thompson blows left and right. Now, when Flash goes for one last punch towards Peter Parker's face, Peter Parker grabs Flash Thompson's hand to stop the blow from hitting his face. The thing is though, when Peter Parker did that, he broke Flash Thompson's hand. And so with that happening right there, you have Flash Thompson on the ground in pain because Peter Parker just broke this man's hand. Now, we do jump over to Harry Osborn because right now Harry Osborn is talking to Kong. Now, I'm pretty sure I did not go over who Kong is earlier in this video, but Kong is basically another bully of Peter Parker. What I mean is that you have Flash Thompson who bullies Peter Parker, but also Kong does the same thing as Flash Thompson. Kong picks on Peter Parker. He is also a bully. But anyways, you have Kong talking to Harry Osborn. And the thing is, you have Kong tell Harry what happened to Flash, how Peter Parker broke Flash Thompson's hand. Now, for Harry, it's kind of weird because to Harry, he's kind of like, that's not Peter Parker. Peter Parker is a weakling. He's a skinny kid who's a nerd. Like, there's no way he could be able to break Flash Thompson's hand. But you have Kong saying, dude, Peter Parker broke Flash Thompson's hand. Now, you do have Norman Osborn overhear this conversation, and he realized that Peter Parker is getting superpowers. And so you have Norman Osborn walk over to Harry, pull Harry to the side, and say, listen, I want you and that Parker boy to come by Oscorp tomorrow as a way to show Peter Parker I'm sorry for him getting bit by that spider. Thing is though, guys, to Harry Osborn, it seems like his dad's being a good guy, but in reality, it's Norman Osborn just trying to get more out of Peter Parker to see what in the world is going on with Peter, what is happening to Peter, how in the world is he getting these superpowers? And so Harry tells his dad, yes, we'll be there tomorrow. Norman Osborn is kind of like, good, I'm happy. But in reality, it's kind of like, I'm good, I'm happy because I'm going to get more blood samples from your friend. Now, we do jump over to Uncle Ben, Aunt May, and Peter Parker, because right now Flash Thompson's mother calls Uncle Ben and says, you guys are going to pay for this medical bill. And the thing is, if you don't pay this bill off, we will sue you guys. And so that right there just makes Uncle Ben and Aunt May hang the phone up, turn around, and start yelling at Peter. And the thing is, Peter's kind of like, listen, Flash Thompson has been a bully to me this whole school year. He always pick on me. And the one time I decide to protect myself, and yes, he did get hurt, you're yelling at me. You are yelling at me and you're not taking my side. And so you do have Peter Parker and his uncle and his aunt exchange a few words. And you do have Peter Parker say a few things that kind of made Aunt May cry. And Uncle Ben kind of like, yo, dude, are you all right? Calm down. And so after that, you do have Peter Parker run to his room. Now, of course, the next day, Peter Parker goes downstairs and tells his uncle and Aunt May that he is sorry for yelling at them. Now, we do jump over to Oscorp, because right now at Oscorp, you do have Peter Parker and Harry stop by like Norman Osborn wants them to do. And the thing is, while they're walking through Oscorp, they do get introduced to Doc Ock. And guys, this is our first appearance of Ultimate Marvel Doc Ock. Now, you do have Doc Ock trying to butter up Peter Parker, kind of like, hey man, you and I both love science. You know, you and I should work together one day. But the thing is, Doc Ock is doing this so he can get a blood sample from Peter Parker. Now, Doc Ock does ask Peter at first, like, hey, can I get a blood sample? Peter's kind of like, nah, man, I'm good. I hate needles, and my blood needs to stay inside of me, not outside of me. But the thing is, Doc Ock goes ahead and steals a blood sample from Peter Parker without Peter saying yes. And that right there freaks out Peter Parker, because he's kind of like, is this an ambush? Like, was I invited here so you guys can get another blood sample? And so Peter Parker just runs off. He runs away. He's like, nope, I'm gone. Now, we do jump over to Norman Osborn looking at the new sample of Peter Parker's blood. And the thing is, Norman Osborn realized that this blood is different than the last blood sample, that Peter Parker looks healthy. He's not dying. He's actually getting better. And so you have Norman say, listen, if the Oz formula worked on Peter Parker, it should work on any other person. And so the thing is, you have Norman tell his team, we are going to recreate the Oz formula and put it inside me. And let's see what happens to me. And guys, that wraps up Ultimate Spider-Man number 2. Now guys, when it comes to Ultimate Spider-Man number 3, with this book right here, this book does pick up a few days after Ultimate Spider-Man number 2. Now, we do pick up with Norman Osborn still trying to convince his staff that they should recreate the Oz formula, to try the new Oz formula on him to see what happens when he has the Oz formula inside his body. The thing is though, you do have his staff kind of like, are you sure? Because we got lucky with the Parker kid. How do we know if we try the Oz formula on you that you will not turn into some kind of monster? And so you kind of have Norman say, well, listen, this is my company. This is my formula. You guys work for me. So if you want to keep your job, you will help me recreate the Oz formula, to test the Oz formula on me to see what happens. So get to work or get out. And of course, you know, the scientist kind of like, fine, I want to keep my job, we'll help you. And so we now jump over to Peter Parker, Kong, Flash Thompson and Mary Jane, because right now they are watching a wrestling match. They are watching Crusher Hogan. And right now, Crusher Hogan is just fighting against somebody in the ring, and of course he wins the match. Now, you do have the announcer tell the crowd, listen, if you are able to get in the ring to fight against Crusher Hogan, you can make some big money. And so of course, you kind of have Kong kind of like, well, I'm a high school kid who wants money. Let me get in the ring. And of course, the announcer is kind of like, nah, man, like you're just 15 years old. There's no way I'm gonna allow some kid to get in the ring and get hurt by Crusher Hogan. Come back when you're 21 years old. Now, you do have Peter Parker realize something. He says, you know what? If I can go home, make an outfit, make a mask to hide my face, I can fight against Crusher Hogan and I can make some money. Take that money and give that money over to Aunt May and Uncle Ben. And so guys, Peter Parker does that. He makes an outfit, he goes to fight against Crusher Hogan, defeats Crusher Hogan to give the money that he won in his match against Hogan to his uncle and his aunt to help pay off Flash Thompson's medical bill. It's Peter saying, I need to use my powers to help me out, to help others out, to help my aunt, to help my my uncle. I need to use my powers to help make my life better. And so he did that. Now, we do jump over to Peter Parker in high school right now, and at his high school. And the thing is, he does get confronted by his coach. And the thing is, his coach is kind of like, listen, since you broke Flash Thompson's hand, we are short one man for our basketball team. We need somebody. So Peter, do you want to join the basketball team? And Peter's kind of like, nah, man, I'm good. Like, I don't like sports. I don't like you either. Thing is, you do have Flash Thompson say kind of mean things about Peter. And Peter's kind of like, you know what? I will join the basketball team. And of course, with Peter doing that, the first game Peter plays in, he is wrecking the opponent. He is beating their butts left and right. Peter Parker is LeBron James in high school. He's a superstar. Everybody's all like, yo, who is this kid? This kid is like crazy good right now, guys. This is wild. And so it's Peter Parker saying, thanks to that bite, my life is getting better at a slow pace. Now, Peter Parker does go back to fight Crusher Hogan just one more time to make some more money to help out Aunt May and Uncle Ben pay for Flash Thompson's medical bill. And so he does fight against Crusher Hogan, defeats Hogan again, except this time, after he defeats Hogan, the announcer calls Peter the Amazing Spider-Man. And that's where Peter Parker gets his name in Ultimate Marvel, from this announcer. Now, the announcer also hands over Peter Parker his new outfit, saying, listen, man, the stuff you've been wearing is horrible. Like, it looks nasty, it's horrible. You need a better outfit. So I had someone make you a better outfit. Here you go. And this is where Peter Parker gets his Ultimate Spider-Man outfit, again, from this person. Now, to go ahead and wrap up issue number 3, but to go ahead and wrap this video up too, we do jump back over to Norman Osborn and his staff, because again, they are about to test the new Oz formula on Norman Osborn. And the thing is, you have Harry Osborn walk in kind of like, Dad, what are you doing? Why in the world are you trying to recreate this formula? Like, what are you doing right now, Dad? Why are you in that chair? Why there's like tubes like plugged into you? What in the world is going on? The thing is, you had Norman Osborn tell one of his staff members to get his son out of here because he does not want his son around when he's about to test this new Oz formula. And so as Harry walks away, Harry hears a loud scream and a loud explosion. And guys, that wraps up issue number 3. Now guys, we are going to end today's video. Now next week I will cover issue number 4, 5, 6, and 7, the second half of the story. The thing is guys, this story was so massive and it has so much content for us to cover. I was kind of like, dude, this will be like a 40-minute video. I don't want that. And so guys, we will cover the second half of the story next Monday. But anyway guys, please leave me a like down below. Also subscribe for more comic book videos in the near future. Also guys, any suggestions on books I should read, let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But anyways guys, I'm out of here and I will see you guys in the next comic book video. Have a good day guys. Later.